So we're going to look at this. Now, I've been looking at this stuff long enough to know that it pretty much always goes back to the same thing. Even with all the silly writings and bullshit and all the crazy disguising of characters. This is supposed to be... Hang on. I'll show you. Let's just do this real quick. Slow this down for a second. Okay, so let's look at here. The Tetragrammaton, what is it? It's the Hebrew name of God translated in 4 letters as Yahweh or Jehovah. Well, that's interesting. So, 2 different guys using the same name. That's pretty interesting the way all of that works out. And so we see that if you go through all of these characters, you come up with this number, right? And we know that that's really what? It's this. Always comes back to the same thing, right? Because it's 7 and 2 is 9. Okay? And so let's look at this. Because this is... You got to laugh at this stuff because it gets stupid after a while. If we look at this, it says Tetragrammaton, Phoenician, and modern Hebrew and Aramaic, right? Okay, so these look the same. So let's just do this. Do you see what this word is? It's eyes. E-Y-E-Z. Eyes. Now this one here is even funnier. It's supposed to be modern Hebrew, right? N-I-N is nin. If you type in nin, you'll get a whole bunch of listings for 9-inch nails, because nin is 9. Okay? So it says here, I will instruct you and teach you in the way which you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. And here it is over here. So you see, nobody wrote this ancient shit that says eyes exactly the same. This is what I mean. After you look at this stuff for a while, you start seeing the silliness in the way that they put this together, in a way. I mean, there's still amazing stuff to be found. But here we have the 9. Here they're just saying nin, which is 9. The name of God is Yahweh or Jehovah. That's pretty interesting. 2 different names for the same dude, or 2 different dudes. Right? I will instruct you in which way to go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. And then they show you this is Yahweh. Well, you can clearly see it's a fucking eye. But nobody wrote this backwards like that. That's bullshit. It's all the same thing. Yahweh is the Saturn thing, and Saturn is the way, and it's... Now, this is the other thing. When it says Saturn the way, I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking for it. It's just, you guys have seen it a million times. So remember where I showed you that thing from that Christian station? It says Saturn the way, right? Which in reverse is... That's the way they had it, right? On the commercial. Or however they spelled it. Let me go back and check. Yeah, and then they had the T off to the side like that. Okay, when it says Saturn the way, people will think one way of understanding that is Saturn's the way. In other words, you have to go the way of Saturn. But what if it's just telling you that's just the way it is? Saturn the way, the cycle. That's just the way it is. See, that's another way of understanding that. It's the cycle. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's leading you in any direction. Like, oh, if I do this Saturnian thing, I'll be saved. What if it's just telling you that Saturn, it's just the way things are. A big circle, a 9. I mean, you can clearly see that nobody wrote that and just that they flipped the fucking E's around, and later on in English we changed it back. Fuck off. There's too much evidence here. There's stuff wouldn't add up to this. Literally wouldn't add up to this if that wasn't the case. Okay, it's all, you know, we really got, there's some truth to this stuff, but there's a lot of lies to this stuff. And they can be proved both ways. So I just thought that was funny. You got eyes and you got 9. And then that video I showed you where they were singing, I'm going to drag you to the gates of hell. They show the guy's eye. And then on the back of the dollar bill, you've got the all-seeing eye. And then that's all equated with Saturn. And that this eye thing has to do with, I will instruct you and teach you in which way to go. The eye, your eye. Doesn't your eye teach you which way to go? Isn't that not true? So then that means that you're the one that's observing what's right and what's wrong. I mean, this isn't some kind of speech about your God, not far from it. Far, far from it. But the point is that they don't teach this shit the right way. They dance around stuff like this, making people think that this is some kind of ancient bullshit, and it ain't. Flipping stuff around. I looked at that and I said, that's just his eyes. And if you know what the all-seeing eye is, you know that's equated with Saturn. And then you just happen to go look up this tetragrammaton, which is the name Yahweh written, and it just happens to be 72, which equals 9, and we all know what 9 is. We all know what this is. See how silly this gets after a while?